I've never been as happy as right now, but shit, I gotta cope with the fact that it dies down. Cause in the end, I just wake up salty, start my day with a pot of black coffee.
The last of the 2D mainline Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy VI, or Final Fantasy III back in the day in America. Released in April of 1994 in Japan on the Super Famicom and later released in North America that same year in October. While being the last of the classic era of the series, it was actually the first game to not be directed by series creator Hironobu Sakaguchi. Instead, he was a writer on this game, and the title of director was given to Yoshinori Kitase and Hiroyuki Ito. I hope I pronounced those correctly. This entry is considered one of the most popular in the series, not just based on sales, although it did sell 1 million more units on its own compared to Final Fantasy IV and 100,000 more than 5, but because of its more mature storylines tackling subjects like the ethics of war and about redemption and the power of hope. It also continues to use the ATB system rather than turn-based, but for the first time so far in the series, we have more party members that stay around for the ride so you can choose who to take with you. I guess it's time for me to talk about my history with this entry, and RPGs as a whole. Growing up, I did have a lot of access to different RPGs and just games as a whole. I still remember my first RPG being Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door on my GameCube, and also Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars through WiiWare, but I was also a Pokemon kid, if you couldn't tell already. I had family who knew what emulation was, and that allowed me to try a lot of games, but I never finished a lot of games that I emulated as a kid, one of which was Final Fantasy VI. I did try and play it again years later on my laptop, but being a teenager, things got in the way and I forgot about it, and also that laptop kind of broke. The series has kind of been building up to a closure for me on a game that has evaded me for a long time. It's been really fun doing these dub-style reviews. I guess I could call them dubbish reviews since calling them I Have to Beat clones isn't that creative. Time to wrap up this mini-series for the year until time for me to do it again next year. If I even want to do it next year. This is Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster. We begin the game being told of a war 1,000 years ago, the War of the Magi, which nearly destroyed the world, but has now been rebuilt through Industrial Revolution without the influence of magic believed to be a bygone part of a forgotten time. But the Empire wants to reawaken said magic to conquer the world. Hey, you ever wonder why we're here?
Wedge, this is the 10th time you have asked this on the way here alone to find this frozen Esper.
Yeah, but it's one of life's great mysteries.
Oh, for the love of Gestahl, get moving, or the General will have your hide. In retrospect, not as intimidating as I thought, but just get to it.
We head down to the town of Narshe and fight through the guards defending from the Empire, but they aren't able to keep up with Magitech armor. Even the first boss, Ymir, is a total joke. Find the Esper and it kind of vaporizes Wedge and Biggs before we get knocked out and picked up by one of the townspeople, now no longer under the influence of the crown put on us. Let's change things up for once since this is the last ride, but I will still say Terra to make it less confusing. We don't have much time to rest and escape from the guards out the back and back into the mines. We then get some flashbacks of our past. With the protagonist under my control, I will be unstoppable. I will be the hero of the story, of my own story. Weird, that's kind of a meta statement that he's making. We then cut back to the house and meet Locke, a treasure-hunting thief who is sent to make sure we make it out of Narshe and meet the returners, a resistance against the Empire. He finds us, but the guards are hot on our trail, but with the help of Mog and the boys, we fend them off in this cool section where we swap between multiple parties to handle enemies. I love that each Moogle has a unique name. Locke and Terra make it out of the mines and head southwest to Figaro. Now that we have control of Terra, we have access to magic, albeit just cure and fire, but Locke giving us the steel command this early is crazy to me. We enter Figaro and meet its King Edgar. You may call me the Rizzler. No. Alright, only because I respect women. Figaro is allied with the Empire, so we're free to rest here since we are a soldier. I take a look around and find a Chocobo stable, and this will be a cool ride. Whoa! Okay, a little disorienting. I finish exploring the castle and return to Edgar, but it's interrupted by a familiar face. I know she must be here. I must reclaim my favorite asset, I mean soldier, or my name isn't Kefka Falazzo. Oh, you must be expecting a joke from a court mage. We reference Star Wars a lot. I don't like sand. It's coarse, and rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere. Kefka attacks after we don't give Terra up, and Edgar says that the Empire is cringe and sinks the castle under the sand while we take on 2 mechs as we escape. The battle theme is so cool. I think it's probably my favorite so far in the series. We make quick work with Edgar's use of tools. This crossbow does some mean damage early game. We take a nearby cave to South Figaro and fight through the bugs and whatever these weird eye monsters are. It's pretty quick before we are in South Figaro and follow this cool ninja, but this doesn't really go anywhere yet. We shop around for some new gear and head to a cabin to look for someone, but they've been killed and his son has gone missing. I don't like the sound of that as we head to Mount Kolts. We see this monk class dude head further in and we follow him in our challenge to fight him, and 2 freaking bears? I didn't realize that the crossbow wasn't a one-time use yet, so I wasn't really maxing my damage. I assumed they were consumed like shurikens for the ninja class, but I was wrong. Eventually, Edgar's brother Sabin jumps in to avenge his master, killed by his own son Vargas in the super cool but pretty much scripted one-on-one. I love Sabin's kid since you basically have to do fighting game inputs to deal massive damage. Vargas goes down and Sabin joins up with us to get us to the hideout of the returners. We're then introduced to Banon, who tries to recruit us for the fight against the Empire. You guys got the girl who took out 50 soldiers in mere minutes? Maybe this is a bad time. I did that? She is our only hope left at the bottom of Pandora's box. She may have been our enemy in the past, but those actions weren't her own will, so I know we can trust her to do the right thing. We should let her rest. This is a lot to throw on her. I'll do it. Excellent. We will raft down the river to Narshe in the morning. So starts a section that was not fun due to my utter incompetence as a gamer. I deserve to have my gamer card revoked for how long this took me. It's just a fixed set of battles along a river where you can't let Banon die, but the enemies have a weird love of aiming for him and these dragons can one-tap him. I didn't even notice that Banon was back row and should have set all of them there earlier. Especially the boss of this area, Ultros, is basically required since you can't grind beforehand. You look like a tasty snack. You into tentacles? Even if I was into octopuses, octopi, I'm pretty sure I'm a lesbian. How dare you reject me? We push him away, but Sabin tries to go for the kill, but gets launched away from the party. We then get to such a cool little section that I wish the game did more with. This is a little crossroads that lets us pick where we go next and what order we can play them in. I get that the story didn't really have more spots for it, but I think it's such a cool idea to do this, and other RPGs use this idea, and some even make it a selling point, like Octopath Traveler. I should really get to that game when I have the chance. Let's start with Locke's route. Back in South Figaro, we have to run through a stealth mission to get back to Narshe. You take advantage of the steal command so it lets you look like a merchant to get past the guards, then fight a weaker cadet to take his uniform. It's not long before we learn of a secret password for merchants to get to the other side of town. Take the path to the mansion and meet Celes, an imperial general infused with magic, being tortured for treason.
Do your worst.
Okay.
Didn't really think that through.
Hey, do you want to join the resistance?
I will literally love you forever.
Eh?
Not really, but I can fight.
Well, beggars can't be choosers. They fight their way out of the dungeon, giving us a second strong magic user, but this time with Blizzard. Back in the cave outside the city, we face off with the tunnel armor. This fight is a good way to teach us how to use the runic command. When an enemy uses magic within the turn of us casting it, it attracts it like a lightning rod and restores MP. We make quick work of it on the second try after getting a bit unlucky in the first try, and definitely didn't almost lose the second time. And like that, we already finished the first of the 3 scenarios. Next up, we check back in with Sabin floating down the river before finding a cabin and the ninja, Shadow, again. He tells us that the Empire set their sights on Doma Castle. He joins up to lead the way. So naturally, I buy a ton of shurikens so we're well stocked for upcoming battles and spam that with a thorough command. We stumble to an Imperial camp and overhear soldiers talk of Kefka planning to take command from General Leo, who seems to be actually noble. I guess good people could be on the wrong side. We then see Cyan, a defender of the castle, take down an assault squad's captain and force a retreat. We will wait out the Domans until they can't stay in place. I will not risk the lives of my men if I can afford not to. I must return to see the Emperor. Do not rush this assault on Doma. Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Dum, poisoning the water supply. Dum. The poison kills most of the people of Doma, even Cyan's wife and child. Seeking revenge, he fights through the Empire's forces and we join up to help. Cyan comes equipped with Bushido, very strong sword attacks that can shred through enemy soldiers and definitely will be a keeper for the long haul. I am in your debt, strong monk and warrior of shadow. Let us make haste before we are outmanned. This is gonna be an interesting character. We steal some Magitech armor and escape from the camp. From there, we find the Phantom Forest and oh, no, it can't be. Exiting the forest is super simple. Oh, this is before Mario RPG. No need to follow Gino. The ghosts here aren't super challenging, but it's a short walk into the dungeon, the Phantom Train. In order to not be taken to the afterlife, we have to find a way off of the train. We can recruit a ghost to help us with the ability to possess an enemy which kills most of the enemies aboard the train instantly, at the cost of him leaving us. We run into the Siegfried guy, but he's no Gilgamesh, but he does take one of our treasures in here. What an asshole. Time for the next boss, the train itself. Unlike the Phantom Express in Cuphead, this fight was super easy. Famously, you can just insta-kill it with the use of a Phoenix Down, but even without it, just keep up the pressure and damage output, plus we have Knight's Code so Sabin hits a few counters, and we did the sick suplex. We handle it with no problem, and Cyan gets a bit of closure about his lost family. We climb these falls, but Zhao decides he's done for a bit and leaves. So it's just Cyan and Sabin now. We fight through some enemies on the way down and end up being found by this feral boy who I imagine sounds like that one kid from the Wild Thornberries. We venture to a nearby town and get some meat before running into the boy again and recruit him. Gao is an interesting party member. He can leave to learn new moves and come back if you give him more meat. I think this is a little bit frustrating to learn since it takes away a party member and him reappearing after a future combat can be random. It's a cool idea, but for my consistent way of playing, it's just not for me. We look through a nearby cave for a treasure that Gao hid there and find an item that lets us breathe underwater. We hop into the rapids on the other side of the cave to this really trippy Mode 7 section, and fighting some new enemy types and enter the Serpent Trench to get a little bit of loot before waking up at Port Town to buy some gear and take a ferry to South Figaro, concluding the section. We return to Terra and the others for another raft section and thankfully don't get fireball spammed like last time. We finally make it back to Narshe, but the guards still aren't too happy to see us, so we have to go around the side through the mines. We do a little puzzle where we have to follow a sneaky path and reunite with Arvis, the man who took us in after finding the Esper, already concluding this section and reuniting the parties. Banon speaks to the Elder and warns that the Empire could start a second War of the Magi if they grow their Magitech arsenal, and they join our side after learning the Empire is about to strike. We set up 3 parties to defend the Esper from the Empire on the Krillith, very similar to the Moogle section in the beginning. I have to be a little strategic with who fights and let what I feel will be the strongest group take on the Court Mage himself. He can be a bit aggressive with strong magic stats, but he flees and we go back to the Esper, causing Terra to transform when she interacts with it again, flying across the continent. The rest of the party go after her following this incident, leaving a few behind to protect Banon and the Esper. I decide to leave Gao and Sabin in Narshe and decide to get more gear as we head after Terra in the west, using the castle in Figaro to go under the mountain range. We check Collegian and Jidor and find some of the town's residents tell us of seeing a glowing creature, so it seems we're on the right track, while we get some of Locke's tragic backstory of his lost love. I will say it's a bit weird she is being preserved in case Locke can bring her back. I do like that we get different interactions for taking different party members since there are so many possible combinations of the party. We keep walking across the eastern side of the mountains, finding this cool opera house, but we'll come back to that later. We have to head to the slummy city of Zozo. We can't even walk around this place without being attacked by Gygus. Different NPCs have hints to a clock puzzle, but I'm a little dumb, so I just use a guide to find the hidden passage. After a quick boss battle that Edgar's chainsaw makes a complete joke, we find Terra in bed, overwhelmed by her power. Then Rama makes his appearance and tells us of a time before the War of the Magi where humans and Espers lived together before heading to a new realm before the current war began, sealing themselves away. He instructs us to help the Espers that have been captured in the Magitech research facility and gives his life to become Magicite, which is the essence of an Esper and their power. So we now can give any character access to a once per battle summon and magic that they can use and learn to keep after they unequip the Magicite. It's kind of a mix of the proficiency system from Final Fantasy II, but also has some stat buffs on level ups such as max HP or stamina. I swap out Edgar for Sabin and equip each member with a piece of magicite and start planning a way to get to the facility. We go back to the opera house and learn that there's a plan for a man, Setzer, to kidnap the lead actress Maria, who looks a lot like Celes. The director agrees to a plan to have Celes take Maria's place so we confront the wandering gambler so we can try to use his airship to reach the Empire.
I am not singing. You cannot pay me enough for this shit.
We then do a small minigame that's apparently a lot easier in this version since it's just a few button presses. These scenes look super good in the pixel remasters since the audio isn't crunched for the limitations of the Super Nintendo. Locke discovers that Ultros plans to ruin the performance, so we have to go to the rafters and stop him before he drops a weight on Maria like a Looney Tunes character. The timer in this section doesn't really matter, even with all the rats up here. We fall down and start a rematch with Ultros as part of the performance now. This is really easy, minus the chip damage from the acid rain. He runs off as Setzer takes the disguised Celeste and we explain the situation to him. After a coin toss, he joins the party, giving us the airship. We approach the imperial capital of Vector, but first we stock up in the nearby town of Albrook and go to other towns to get some encounters and grind up levels to get some spells from our Espers. Once in Vector, we sneak our way into the factory and research facility, fighting through Imperial soldiers and Onion Knights, but not to be confused with the Onion Knights from Final Fantasy III. Sabin and Cyan, having learned new multi-target skills, make swift work of somewhat weak enemies. In the lower levels, we overhear Kefka plotting to become a god and use the power of the Espers to revive the Warring Triad. I'm sure that'll be explained in a little bit. We go and try to save the Espers he tossed away, but have to fight them since they're scared and unsure of our intent. Having Rama as a summon is very useful for fighting the other two elemental Espers, Ifrit and Shiva. They become Magicite and we push into the facility, trying our new Espers and fighting the next boss. Oh sweet, a blood sword. We go in and try to save the Espers who all die, and we get their Magicite as we meet Sid, Celeste's father-type figure. Kefka tries to gaslight us that Celeste is a spy, but she protects everyone, and Sid realizes they might be the bad guys and decides to help us. We then enter this cool escape where we ride on this cart and fight these motorbike monsters, listening to this cool escape music and battling the next boss, who's kinda tough since his limbs regenerate, but you can keep using Rising Phoenix and Fang and make it a quick fight. Setzer meets us as we're trying to leave Vector, fighting off these cranes while utilizing the power of gambling, and finally return to Zozo with the Magicite to help calm Terra down to her normal form. But first we get Terra's origin story in a flashback with her father Madoon finding her mother Madeline at the gate of the Esper world. They fall in love and eventually Terra is born. Then Gestahl finds the gate 2 years later and they seal themselves in, but Terra's on the other side along with her parents, and Gestahl takes her and captures Madoon to create more weapons. We then fly back to Narshe since we have free reign over the skies to fly. Banon says that the only plan we have is to open the gate to the Esper world to get them to aid us in fighting back against the Empire, all while Terra has an existential crisis about her existence. We explore this Imperial outpost on the way and see Terra now has a power over her Esper form with the trance command, greatly increasing how strong her spells are, but we are on a time limit with it. We get to the cave leading to the gate, and I may have accidentally grinded thinking that I need access to floats, but it's just a memory puzzle. So we get through quick as Terra heads for the gate, and the rest have to fight Kefka yet again. Don't tell me you're sick of me just yet. You haven't been as funny on your deadline. What is going on? That's not in the script. Are we doing a meta-narrative? Hey look, the door's opening now. The gate is then sealed up again after the Espers fly away and return the way we came to see the Espers destroying the Empire's occupation and causing mayhem due to their anger at humanity, and we crash near Miranda. We get some new gear and head towards Vector to see the devastation caused by the Espers attack, but the Emperor wants to meet with us to have dinner and discuss peace and calming the Espers while we're at it, assuring us that Kefka will be punished for his crimes at Doma. I guess the war is over. You think you're so cool, but this is just Act 1. I'm going to make you all burn. I hope they give you the death penalty, you delusional jester. It's not even 20 hours in. What makes you think this is close to over? We make our way to Albrook to meet up with General Leo and meet some familiar faces again with Celes and Shadow. Leo and Terra have a heart-to-heart about humanity and what it's like to feel love. Even Shadow gives his input. Yeah, I mean, girls are very pretty. Yeah, I'll figure this out another time. This is probably a bad time to be thinking about this. We make it to Crescent Island to look for answers on the whereabouts of the Espers. We take Shadow while Celes goes with Leo, and we end up in the town of Themissa, where we meet a strange old man, Strago, and his granddaughter, Relm. He claims not to know about Espers until Relm casually mentions magic. We decide to go to rest at the end, but are awoken by a fire with Relm trapped inside the building. Strago tries to use magic despite it being taboo, but the village decides to try and help before we jump into the building to get her out. The house is full of balloons, but Strago can make quick work of them with his lore command, which combined with the sketch command allows him to act like a blue mage and get skills from enemies, but we don't have access to that just yet. We destroy the Flame Eater boss and rescue Relm, her and Strago joining us on the adventure as he tells us that the village is made up of descendants of the Magi, hence their ability to use magic. He then tells us that the Espers are likely in the mountains where the magic is still strong, but Shadow leaves the party again, so I guess Relm will take his spot at some point in the next dungeon. We ascend the mountain, and it's a lot of the same stuff that we've seen before as we reach statues of the Warring Triad, getting a lore dump on how they're the gods that created magic and the Espers, but turned themselves to stone to prevent their strength from being used to evil and destroying the world. But we're then interrupted by Ultros trying to take the statues. This time he's just inches closer, but can be pushed back with strong magic like Thundara. Eventually Relm joins in to help by sketching Ultros, causing him to have a crisis and leave, adding her to the party now. But almost immediately we find the Espers, and after they realize that Terra is like them, they realize that the Espers go ballistic because there's nothing dampening their power in the human world. We have them meet with General Leo to make peace, and I guess this is the end. I was kind of expecting this to be longer and have a bigger threat, and surprise! Act 2! Kefka, what is this madness? Collecting magicite for the Emperor. Did you really think we would make peace when we could become gods of this world? Enough! Time to end this. Shock! Foolish Leo, you believe in peace. Kneel before me, dog. Stupid. I'll kill you and the Emperor and rewrite this game. This is my game, my show! Kefka turns the other Espers into magicite and we bury Leo, a good man. We can't sit by as Kefka plans to revive the Triad. Then suddenly a continent is floating in the sky. Kefka and Gestahl are about to disrupt the balance of the Triad, which is keeping them stone. It could sadly only take 3 of us to the next dungeon, so I go with what I consider to be the trio of heroes for this game. But before we can land, we have to do a section of enemies to take down, but most of them go down really quick. But this guy just does not know when to quit. Ultros is about the same, but now he has Typhoon as a backup. This fight is pretty much scripted until he hits you with Snort and are sent flying into another boss, which I was unprepared for and died. Second try was much better. You should make sure to heal even though it's basically scripted. We land on the continent and find Shadow to fill that 4th party member slot. After briefly going into cardiac arrest from a dragon snorting most of the party away, I rush through all the freaky demons that I can resurrect and reach Ultima Weapon, not to be confused with the actual Ultima Weapon I picked up earlier and forgot to mention. This battle theme is really good. That's about all I can say. He doesn't really have the much resistance, and Flare hurts like a bitch. Good thing I can reflect it back at him. Celes hits Kefka so hard he finally bleeds, and he uses the power of the gods to kill the Emperor with his own attacks reflected by the statues of the Triad. The balance is broken and the Triad is unleashed, but not before Shadow crushes Kefka between them. The escape is pretty easy, but you need to stay until the end to make sure Shadow escapes the party. Otherwise, you're locked out of him for the rest of the game as the world you know ends by the power of the Warring Triad. Now is the intermission of the thrilling and climactic finale of Final Fantasy Fall. I'm honestly really happy with the series so far. I just don't know how we can continue from this point. The games will get longer as well as the scripts and the videos. Plus, with the transition to 3D, will it be easy to make these edits? Am I happy with the current editing? For what started off as an homage to another series, it surely doesn't have the same level of quality or custom art. Should I continue this format for other series? Maybe a break will help. Let's see what collaborator of the channel and best friend of mine, Nyxorra, has to say on Final Fantasy Fall.
Oh my goodness, I have loved this series so much and has been such a blast to be invited to do this with the Cheebs. Final Fantasy has been such a big part of my life, especially during COVID. Final Fantasy XIV, my beloved. But I will admit, I still have yet to play some of the older games. So seeing this series play out through and watching this gameplay has been awesome, especially your detail to music. I just love game OSTs, let me tell you. I can't wait to see more of your thoughts and gameplays of the rest of the series, especially as the games take very interesting turns. I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy X.
I guess we need to get back to the game. How long has it been?
I was in a coma for a year? How did you feed me? Actually, Don't answer that. Let me just feed you now since you're sick.
Yeah, so it turns out there is a difference in which fish are good and bad. I didn't know this and could have saved Sid. After nearly succumbing to despair, we see a bird that gives us hope that Locke and the others could still be out there. So we take a raft that Sid left for us as we get ready to try and survive in the new world of ruin. We explore this barren wasteland of a world with this eerie overworld music, exploring Albrook and learning that after the Triad awoke, Kefka basically became a god of the world. In Zen, we find a collapsing building with Sabin keeping it together as we run through on a time limit to save a young child who is trapped. We make it through in time and Sabin rejoins us. This is gonna be the main loop of the World of Ruin, doing little side quests to regain our party members. You can actually do the final dungeon super early, but being a partial completionist and for thematic narrative, I'm gonna go out and get everyone. Now I present to you a montage of comedic sketches recruiting everyone.
Terra, come back!
No, I want to take care of these kids.
We will come back for you. Edgar, is that you?
Who is this Edgar? I am Gerard. Shut up and follow. Was I, Edgar, this whole time? What was that? Are we referring to the king who locked us up before the apocalypse? We should go. It's pointless without the Blackjack. Wait a minute. I know just the place.
Grave robbing?
It's okay, I still got keys for this airship. Woohoo! Yeah, she's been painting for like 3 days straight to keep this demon happy.
Has anyone just tried burning the painting?
We will not discuss the yaoi I have written while in my isolation.
Shadow, get up! There's a behemoth behind me, isn't there? What could be worse than a king behemoth? I left for 2 minutes. Where the hell are you?
One Colosseum later. Okay, I'm ready to come back. Finally, I found the treasure I need. I'm ready to kick Kefka's ass. Also, you should use this magicite, it's gonna be really good.
Here's some steak.
Me fight Kefka now.
Grandpa, you're being so cringe right now.
Yeah, that was a bit cringe. Lamp oil, rope, bombs? You want it? It's yours, my friend. Oh shit, Ultima.
Hey Luigi, do you like 4?
What? No!
Too bad!
Mimic Gogo? I guess they work on Pokemon rules. They can at least tag along in case we need someone. Gogo. We finally grind up every party member a bit and get this rare drop from the dinosaurs in the forest, making Terra an Ultima spamming menace. We descend onto Kefka's tower using 3 parties of 4, leaving Gogo and Gao behind. This is a bit of a messy dungeon since as you get deeper, you have to swap between parties to press buttons to allow the others to go deeper. Just make sure you keep healed up and use your tents when you find a save point. Great Marlboro can be annoying, just hit it with your basic attacks and you should be good. As for notable bosses, Ultimate Buster is a freaking joke for a stronger version of Ultima Weapon, especially since Terra was there with 1 MP Ultima. The other bosses for the other parties are pretty easy too, but then we get to the Guardian. Thundaga go brr. Then we gotta fight the Warring Triad, fought by each party that we've made. First off, we have to fight the Demon. He is able to pack a bit of a punch with Southern Cross and single target Fire, but with Relm being a dedicated healer, first try. Next was the Fiend, and this fight sucked despite being a first try attempt. Northern Cross is super annoying. I probably could have set up with a way to negate this damage or planned out re-raise, but through sheer willpower, conquered. And to wrap up the Triad, we have Goddess. I got nothing. Terra or not, this fight is painfully easy since my characters were the appropriate level. We head through the door and face off with Kefka one last time. You really don't give up, do you, Cheebs? I don't mean the character. Why do you keep making these? What? You worked yourself so hard on these. And for what exactly? A cool twist of a meta-villain? You think you're some sort of auteur? Creating some Hideo Kojima game narrative? Well, I guess it's time for the finale. I set up my finale lineup and start the ascent. The nice organ pipes and church bells of this theme go hard. We fight through the parts of this massive statue Kefka created. If any character dies between phases, you get to the next one in your lineup for the next fight. I only had one casualty as I battled through. It was a bit cheap since I could just spam ultimate, but most of these high-level magics still make this part a breeze. We reach the top and see Kefka in his godlike state. You honestly think this matters? You can just turn the game off now and use other people's footage. What does it matter that you yourself beat me, aside from your stupid screen name from when you were a child? It means a lot. It means that I not only proved I could beat a video game, but the fact that I committed to a series and finished it. Yeah, it's a game, but a game can be a powerful medium, like how these videos are a medium too for me to tell a story that makes you stronger than you ever could be without me writing it. I actually made something I'm proud of. Big talk from someone whom I can knock down, and not even by my own hand, but that of the prior phase. Well, what matters more than that is you didn't notice all of us taking you down. This can't be. This really is the end. With Kefka defeated, magic is disappearing and all the magicite of the Espers with it. The party escapes the tower in this cute credits that uses their canon names with the names you picked for them. Terra survives and gets to live her life as a human and mother to these orphans. Now, what's a good joke for us to end this on? I like girls. That was Final Fantasy VI. This game is a true masterpiece. Aside from my minor complaints, I enjoyed everything about it. The music, the story, the characters, it all just felt meaningful. I know that is going to sound like a weird cop-out of an answer to saying that this game is just good, but it takes the formula from the previous games and kept improving it to what I feel is the perfect 2D Final Fantasy. It's probably the only game in this series of videos that I'm going to give a perfect 10 out of 10. Thank you to everyone who stuck around to see the finale of Final Fantasy Fall, and by extension, Summer of Final Fantasy. It's crazy to think that the series was just going to be in a summer. Will this return next year? Who's to say? At least I am satisfied with leaving it here if I choose to pursue another project. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with other Final Fantasy fans in your life. And until next time, I'll see you, whatever video that may be.